Alright guys, welcome to the Lord Dominator Q&A. As always, before we get started, I want to thank everyone who sent in questions, but if I did not answer someone's question, that usually means it was either marked as spam or didn't show up at all. YouTube didn't have it show up on the list at all, so I do apologize for that. Also, if the mic sounds a little funny, that's because I got the fan on because it gets very hot in my room, so I apologize for that. Anyway, let's get started with this Q&A, starting with Billy McCary, who asks, would Lord Dominator go on a blind date with Thanos or Darkseid? I'd say she'd probably have more fun with Thanos. Second question, if her name is Lord Dominator, would she be a guy rather than a girl? She can be whoever the fuck she wants to be. Third question, what would happen if Lord Dominator has the Venom symbiote or the Carnage or Scream or any of the symbiotes? Then we would all be screwed. We would all be just completely screwed. Anyway, same those questions, Billy. Moving on now to Andrew Varney, who asks, Dominator is invited to a slumber party with the following characters. The Kanker Sisters, Revy from Black Lagoon, Undyne, Xena, Android 18, and Wonder Woman. How much damage are we looking at? We're probably looking at the most epic pillow fight ever. I'm also kind of imagining Rock from Black Lagoon, or Eddie from Ed, Edd n Eddy, like having that scene with John Belushi's character from Animal House, Bluto. Like that scene where he's just hopping over on the ladder, and he's like, yeah, and then when he sees all the girls stripping off, he just faints. Like, that's how I imagine one of those characters. It'd probably be Howard from, actually, now that I think about it, it'd probably be Howard from Randy Cunningham, 9th Grade Ninja, who would do that. Second question. Dominator teams up with Missy from Doctor Who to destroy time and space. How long does the alliance last? Not long, because I think they'd get tired of each other real quick. Dominator and Jasper are trapped in the dream world by Freddy. What happens next? I feel very, very sorry for Freddy, because those two bitches are the last people I'd be trapped in the dream world with. Anyway, thank you for those questions. Moving on, thank you for those questions, Andrew. Moving on now to Matthew Roscoe, who asks, Dominator versus Titina versus She-Hulk. How would that fight go about? I would have to give it to She-Hulk because Dominator gets so arrogant in her fight. She depends too much on her power. And She-Hulk is a well-trained fighter, so I'd give it to her, actually. Second question, what would happen if Dominator became a yandere and started to stalk Lord Hater? Yeah, I just imagine it now. Well, it'd probably be Toffee from Star vs. the Forces of Evil, because again, I cross-ship Toffeenator. Deal with it. But I just kind of imagine her like looking at Toffee, or in the questions case, Lord Hater, just be like, "Oh, he's so beautiful! Look how the rose petals dance across his face." I think I just made my first Markophile joke. Oh, I made my first Markophile joke. Markiplier joke. Oh, my first Markiplier joke. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. Anyway. What would Lord Dominator look like if she was a Cybertronian? I guess it would be something. I would kind of imagine her design if she was she'd obviously be a Decepticon. Probably something like Slipstream from Transformers Animated. That's how I kind of imagine the design, really. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Matthew. Moving on now to T. Jones, who asks, what would Lord Dominator think of Steven and the Gems, and how would they react to her? Well, I think she'd be an excellent rogues villain for her. A villain for them, excuse me. And I think she'd also think what she thinks of Wanda and everyone else in her universe. What a bunch of dorks. Second question. If Lord Dominator had a real name, what would it be? I've kind of had in my head canon that her name is Kendra, or Dekendra, or something like it kind of switches between Kendra and Dekendra for Dominator's real name. I kind of base it off of I wanted a K name. She seems like a K name to me. Anyway. Alright, and your third question is, if Wonder Over Yonder could be greenlit for a film, who would you see playing Lord Dominator? Oh, as much as I really suck at fan casting, I think I know who would be a great live-action Lord Dominator. I think April Winchell, who does the voice of Lord Dominator, would be great. She looks the part. I could see her putting on makeup. But the other person who I could see playing Lord Dominator in a live-action film is Aubrey Plaza, who most of you guys would know as April from Parks and Recreation. And she is also known for voicing Eska in Legend of Korra. She's also done several other voice work throughout many shows. So Aubrey Plaza would probably be my first pick. Or the voice actress first pick, but Aubrey, I feel like for star power, it'd probably be Aubrey Plaza. Anyway, thank you for those questions. T. Jones, moving on now to Jason Voorhees 2011, who asks, Lord Dominator attempts to destroy Cybertron. How do things go down? Probably not good for her. No, not good for her. Not good at all. It just would not... Because honestly, I feel like even one Cybertronian faction could just blow up her robot. You could say, oh, she has the giant mech suit. Yeah, but they have Omega Supreme and Trypticon and Fortress Maximus. Yeah. Just saying that they got a lot of big robots, too. Even Metro, they've even got Metroplex and, like I said, Fortress Maximus. Anyway. What would Dominator think of the Decepticons? I think she'd love to hang out with them all except Starscream. I think she'd be like, ugh, what a little bitch. But yeah, Starscream would definitely be the only one she wouldn't want to hang out with. But Megatron, jamming out with Soundwave, I could see all that. Third question, if you could have Dominator fight another villain from comics, movies, cartoons, besides Master Cyclonus, who would it be? I know a while back I did a Who Would Win matchup between her and Count Dooku, aka Darth Tyrannus from the Star Wars universe. But I would say, to put her against another Star Wars villain, I would say Asajj Ventress. Yeah, I would definitely say, I'd put her against Asajj Ventress, maybe. Yeah. So thank you for those questions, Jason. Moving on now to Carlotta Studios. Oh, I actually was not expecting Carlotta to show up in this Q&A. I don't know, Carlotta, I know you're watching this, so I don't know if you're, if you've become a fan of Wander Over Yonder. Congratulations, welcome to the already dead fandom. Once again, you've arrived, just like in Stormhawks, you've arrived too late to save a fandom. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so, what was I going to say about this? Yeah, but I hope you, at least I guess you're watching the show. I hope. Anyway, if not for Dominator, that's how I started. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. First question: Lord Dominator and Master Cyclonus meet. What would they think of each other? Will they be best evil queen friends forever, or were we looking at one of the biggest cat fights ever? Oh, we're looking at a total cat fight. Just total, utter destruction. These two would not get along at all. I think Dominator would look at her, would look at Cyclonus and be like, ugh, what a tight-ass bitch. And and Cyclonus would be like, you filthy little teenager. Yeah, and then, just turn into an epic cat fight. Anyway. Second question. Dominator calls you up and asks orders you to go on a date with her. Where do you take her and what would you do? And do you think you can make it through the night without ending up being incinerated and or frozen to death? I don't know if I can make it. I mean, as for where we would go... Would she like Cheesecake Factory? I don't know. That's a question you always have to ask yourself on a date, is like, will she like Cheesecake Factory? If she does, then you found one. Or if you can take her through a superhero movie and she still stays with you, then I guess you found one. Anyway, third question. Will Toffeenator ever become canon in the No Name Club fanfiction? I know they already slept together, but after that, there really wasn't much else, unless I'm forgetting something I need to go reread the few chapters. Yeah, for those who are unaware, me and Alexander Inayez co-write this fanfiction series he has on his fanfiction page called the No Name Club, which is a fanfiction series of this place. It's kind of like, think House of Mouse, if you mix the humor of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Trailer Park Boys in it. Yeah, and in there we actually have Toffee from Star vs. the Force of Evil and Dominator in a relationship. Well, kind of, but yes, they will be in a relationship in a future chapter. But yeah, they kind of started off as like Dominator kind of wanted to make an adult movie to send to Hater just to get him off her back. And yeah, she asked Toffee for help on that. Anyway. So I think that's all the questions. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Carlotta Studios, and I guess you're watching Wander Over Yonder now. Yay! And I don't mean sarcastically, I mean a genuine yay. Anyway. Now we just need to get you to watch Gravity Falls and Star vs. the Forces of Evil and Steven Universe, and you will be a great person for it. I'm just kidding. Anyway. So, moving on to Malingar, who asks, Dominator comes to Eternia to destroy and or conquer. What does Skeletor say that convinces her to just pummel him to a bone meal instead? Oh, I knew this was coming. Okay. Let me see if I can get old Skeletor out. Damn you, Dominator! You bone-headed bitch! I can only destroy He-Man! What you don't see is I'm actually doing the Skeletor arms from the classic show when he's angry. I don't know, it gets me into character and I'm ashamed to say that out loud. But yeah, that's kinda how it would go down. Anyway. Dominator wakes up with a hangover. She looks over to see the doctor wearing Wander's hat also waking up with a hangover. What happens next? And she'd probably be like, oh, I need coffee, and I need a pregnancy test right now. Third question. Same question as before, but instead of the doctor, it's Deadpool wearing Wander's hat and a very gratified expression, but still sleeping. Alright, it would probably be the same outcome, but I think she would throw Deadpool out of a airlock. Anyway. So, let's move on to Lydia, who asks, what would the following villains think of Dominator? Azula, Kuvira, Doctor Doom, Magneto, General Zod, Shao Kahn, Hawkmoth, and Dr. Doofenshmirtz. I think they'd all be generally impressed with her, but Doofenshmirtz would be like, oh, sure, she can make a giant suit of armor. If I had a suit of armor, you'd all be at my feet. Curse you, Perry the Platypus. I can't do Doof's voice. Seems like all I can do is Skeletor. Even that I botched. Fuck. Alright, what would happen if Lord Dominator ended up in the DCCW universe, and how fast would she take out each member of Team Arrow? It'd probably be like one collective shot, like Frieza doing his, like, bomb from the top of his finger, but it'd be like molten lava, just one shot all of Star City. Alright, what would happen if Dominator and Doctor Doom went on a blind date? What would it be like if Doctor Doom went on a blind date with Dominator? I don't know. I think she'd be bored because Doom likes to talk about himself, and Dominator just be like, yep, I'm out. Anyway. So thank you for those questions, Lydia. Moving on now to Nolan Uno, who asks, how long would it take till Frieza gets bored with Lord Dominator fangirling over him all the time? Pretty quick. We all know Frieza has no regard for anything, so yeah. Second question. Lord Dominator meets One Punch Man. What would they say to each other and what would happen? Dominator gets One Punch Man out of existence. What villain will make Lord Dominator piss her pants? Probably Darkseid or... maybe Janemba as well from Dragon Ball Z, who knows. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Nolan. Moving on now to Nicholas Harley, who asks, what would happen if Lord Dominator entered the Mortal Kombat tournament? How far would she go? I would imagine pretty far. I would probably imagine very, very far in terms of combat. So, yeah, I could see her going all the way to fighting Goro or Shao Kahn. Second question. Lord Dominator versus the Crystal Gems. Could the Gems defend themselves, or would she kick their asses? Well, there's more of them, and they're willing to fight, so... maybe them. Third question. Lord Dominator meets Onion. What happens next? The whole galaxy is just going to get ripped... The whole galaxy is going to get a new asshole ripped into it. That's what happens. Alright. So, moving on now to Alexander Anayas, who asks... What makes Lord Dominator so awesome? I think she was the main reason of why I got into Wander Over Yonder, because here was this new villain who could shoot lava, and just be a total bitch about it, and be awesome at it at the same time. And yeah, I think, she was one of the main reasons of why I got into the show, because I saw this character, I was like, who the fuck's this? Oh, it's awesome, that's who it is. So, it's this awesome female villain, which we haven't had from Disney in a while. In the cartoon-wise, not movie-wise, but still. Anyway, so second question. If Dominator had a villain role model who she looked up to, who do you think it would be? Frieza. Definitely Frieza, because much like Dominator, Frieza can blow up planets sometimes just for the hell of it, and have fun, and just kind of demean everyone because he's just so powerful. So, I think Frieza, she would be fangasming all about Frieza if they existed in the same universe. She would be like, Frieza-senpai, notice me. Anyway. Third question. If I'm going to ask a question, I'm going to ask the question we're all thinking in back of our heads. Is she a sexy green lima bean like many people think with all the Rule 34? Is that taking it too far? No, they're right. They're totally right. They're the Rule 34 and all that. They're totally right. They're totally right. Hashtag sexy bean, I guess. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Alex. Moving on now to Fire Tools, who asks, if Lord Dominator decided to invade the Space Dandy galaxy, how would it go? And how would Dandy, Scarlet, and the others warring empires react to her? Well, I know I don't speak for everyone, but I know Dandy would try to get in her pants. Just saying, because it's Dandy. We know what he's like. Second question: What Pokemon, Digimon, or any type of creature from fiction could you give Dominator as a pet? Oh, she would have a Houndoom. A Houndoom would probably be her Pokemon. It would probably be a Pokemon for Digimon. Maybe Demi-Devimon, because maybe it can be like an Iago thing with her having Demi-Devimon around. It can be like a weird like Iago and Jafar thing. I don't know. Anyway, third question. With Lord Dominator as the leader, who would she recruit to a league of femme fatales to take over the multiverse? Who would she recruit out of female villains? I would say Azula, Vexus, Cyclonus, Mother Talzin from Star Wars. That's all I can think of right now. Maybe Diva from Blood Plus. I don't know. Alright. Thank you for those questions, Fire Tools. Moving on now to May Sun, who asks, what would happen if Lord Dominator met Shao Kahn or Cassie Cage from Mortal Kombat? I'm pretty sure Shao Kahn would try to make her into his new queen, while Cassie would just try to kick her ass. Second question: how would you feel if Disney made a Dominator origin comic? I'd really like that. I think that'd be cool. Wouldn't happen because Disney gave, Wander Over Yonder on a whole the total middle finger, so that's never going to happen. Third question: what would happen if Wendy from Gravity Falls met Dominator? It's kind of funny because a while back I read a fan fiction, wasn't long, where it kind of said Dominator was her mother. Didn't really go anywhere, but yeah, it was Dominator was supposed to be Wendy's mother in this fan fiction. And I was like, witty, sarcastic teenager, and the mother is a witty, sarcastic alien who acts like a teenager. I can see it. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, May. Moving on now to Xavier Ford, who asks, Dominator runs into the Martians from H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. What is her reaction? She'd think they're all a bunch of idiots. Like, she wouldn't even care. Dominator meets Darth Karate. What happens? I think Karate would try to indoctrinate her into his rule of one Sith army. What happens when Dominator gets rickrolled? She kicks ass and does a Dom roll, which she melts you and then freezes what's the remains. There you go. So thank you for this question, Xavier. Moving on now to Andrew Schaefer, who asks, Dominator decides to fill her time. Dominator decides to fill her time when she's not destroying planets with a hobby. What is it? Aerobics. You got to keep that body in shape. So aerobics and yoga. I can actually see her doing yoga. That's the problem. Second question. Dominator finds the Nomicon Ex Mortis while taking a vacation. How screwed is the galaxy? Probably on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a fucked. Third question. If Dominator was in MKX, what would her fatalities be? Ooh, okay. Okay, as all characters, they would have 2 fatalities. So what would her 2 fatalities be? Alright, her first fatality would be that she takes her... she goes into her armor, takes out the blood scythe, the molten scythe, slices you in half as your upper half's flying in midair, makes a couple of hammers, and slams the 2 hammers together, and it just makes your upper half of your body into a gelatinous bloody mess. For the second fatality, I would say that the second fatality is this move where she basically shoots out like a bunch of molten darts into your body, and while you're like screaming on the ground like ah, she comes over, freezes your face, and then stomps on it. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Andrew. Moving on now to Matt Kaiser 08, who asks, Dominator meets Skeletor, what happens? I already did this, but alright. Yes, Dominator, we shall destroy He-Man, and together we shall take over Eternia. I gotta give Skeletor a break. Alright, second question. Do you think Dominator could be redeemed by Wander? Yeah, I think she could. It did leave it open. I think it kind of left it open, even though she was kind of like, you guys are a bunch of dorks. I feel like that was more of a defense mechanism than anything else, really. I feel like she would eventually be redeemed, and in fact, someone came up with a better ending than the one we got, where in it, the commenter said that what would be a better ending is if in the ending, Wander decided to travel with Dominator to another galaxy and redeem her, much like how when we found out in a previous episode that Sylvia was a bounty hunter out to hunt down Wander. And it took a while for her to redeem herself over that. So it would be kind of like Wander making Dominator his new travel buddy as they go explore another galaxy together while he leaves this galaxy that's now been healed under Sylvia, Hater, and Peeper's care. Yeah. Anyway. So, there you go. Third question. What would Dominator think of Deadpool? Annoying and needs to be shot out of an airlock. Alright. So, thank you for those questions. Moving on now to the average kid who asks, what would happen if Dominator met Flowey, and what would the incarnations and thought be of each other? I think Flowey, she would be like, ugh, Flower, need to destroy it. And Flowey would be like, nah, bitch. And I think she would shit her pants at the sight of Mega Flowey. Just saying. Let's face it, when we all saw Mega Flowey for the first time, we all kind of went, oh shit, we gotta fight that. Very few times in gaming history do you encounter a boss fight that makes you go, like genuinely go, oh shit. Unless you're playing Shadow of the Colossus, in which every time you fight a Colossi, your first instinct is like, fuck my life, I am so screwed. Alright. Second question. Could you see Dominator achieving a more powerful and godly-like form than the show had ran more and gaining more abilities? Probably. I don't know for sure if she'd be too OP, but still. Third question. Dominator invites Yuno Gasai, Jinx from Teen Titans, Blackfire, Ember McLean, and Azula to a sleepover on her ship. What activities does she plan? What shenanigans will come forth? There's going to be a very interesting game of 7 Minutes of Heaven, I can tell you that much. That's probably what might happen. Anyway, thank Thank you for those questions, Average Kid. Moving on now to Christopher Rosa, who asks, I was wondering if Lord Dominator was to rise to power again, how do you think it would happen at the end of Season 2? I think her storyline pretty much ended with Season 2. I feel like she would have been on her own, or at least trying to be redeemed in some capacity. Second question, if you made a cartoon crossover with Lord Dominator as a villain, what would be the plot be, and what would be the villains to fight her? The characters you said were Buzz Lightyear, Invader Zim, Atomic Betty, Ben 10, and Rick and Morty. That actually sounds like a good fucking team, like a good Guardians of the Galaxy team. I don't know for teams, because I really have to think on teams, but I would have Ben 10 in there, in that list. Anyway. So thank you for those questions, Christopher Rosa. Oh, wait, that was your second question. Third question. I was just wondering, do you think Lord Dominator would be like in a more serious story? Probably killing people Joker style and laughing about it. Anyway. So, thank you for those questions. Also, she'd probably be like, I also kind of imagine her as, like, if it was a more serious story, probably like the Lord Humongous from the Road Warrior. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Christopher. Moving on now to Jackie Lee, who asks, what's Lord Dominator's destructive capacity? It's kind of like, it looks like she can take on whole armies by herself. I wouldn't say she's like Frieza level, but it's very clear that she can just do one punch an area and it turns into a giant fucking atom bomb. So I know you said the ship doesn't count, so we're just talking about her powers alone. But yeah, I would say like maybe she could take on the Hulk maybe for a short time. Anyway, at least that's just my opinion. Second question, what type of villain would Dominator be for some heroes from different franchises? What type of villain would Dominator be for some heroes from different franchises? Probably like a space villain, probably. It's kind of how I imagine, like Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. Alright, third question. Dominator meets the Exilians from Godzilla. What happens? Godzilla Final Wars, yeah. What happens? I think she would think they all need leather and need to get a life. Also probably take the machine that makes them steel monsters and probably use that to wreck shit. Or keep Kaiser as a pet. Thank you for those questions, Jackie. Moving on now to Burnouter7, who asks, what would Lord Dominator's entrance music be to a planet? You said Without Me from Eminem. That's a good question. What would her intro music be to a planet? Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. That just fits her so well, because she wants to have a good time when she's blowing up planets. I feel like, yeah, that would suit her very well, because it's very sporadic, very fast-paced, and she's very fast-paced and sporadic, and it's all about her about having a good time, so, yeah. Don't Stop Me Now by Queen is my pick for her intro song. Second question. What would it be like if Lord Dominator was a villain for the Crystal Gems? I already answered this one. In a three-way fight between Dominator, Tyrek, and Terrax from Marvel, who would win? I don't know, because, well, Dominator might be the weakest of the group, but Tyrek, if he has all the magic, like all the Alicorn magic and all that, he would be a very powerful force. But on the other hand, Terrax is a Herald of Galactus, or former Herald of Galactus, so, I don't know, but I feel like Dominator might be taken out early in the fight, it would just be Tyrek and Terrax. Anyway. So, thank you for those questions. Moving on now to Max Gentleman 1, who asks, Dominator, Queen Tyranny, Queen Vexus, and Lord Cyclone, and Master Cyclonus go on a girls' night. What happens? You ever see Thelma and Louise? Alright, get that out of your head, because it would be nothing like that. It would probably be something along the lines of Destroy All Monsters mixed with Battle Royale, before the night's over. And a lot of crying and wine everywhere. Anyway, second question. What would a date with Toffee and Dominator be like? Like, what would they do on a date? Alright. I would imagine a date between Toffee and Dominator would probably range about talking about evil plans, or every night would end with fucking. That's what you need to understand, Max, right out the gate, is that every date would end with them fucking. That's what we're looking at here. Lot of fucking. Just lot of fucking. Lot of fucking. Just total fuckage everywhere. Anyway, third question. Dominator meets the following: Darkseid, Thanos, Frieza, Goku, and the Crystal Gems. I already answered Crystal Gems, talked about Frieza and Thanos. Goku, she would be like, you're such a dork, but I don't want to fight you because I know you're more powerful than me. That would probably be her general response. So thank you for those questions, Max. Moving on now to Jerkwater100, who asks, Lord Dominator versus the Dalek Empire, who would win? Unfortunately, while Dominator's pretty powerful, the Dalek Empire is, well, a goddamn empire, so I would have to give it to the Daleks. Second question, what would Lord Dominator think of the Undertale characters? A bunch of assholes, but I think she would get... I think, now that I think about it, she might get along with Flowey. Like, her and like, she would take Flowey, like, in a potted plant, and just be like, you and me, we're gonna be friends. I just know it. Third question. What would Lord Boros from One Punch Man think of Dominator? Well, unfortunately, I don't know who Lord Boros is because I haven't watched a lot of One Punch Man. I know, shocking! So yeah, I don't know how to answer that question. Anyway, so, yeah, sorry about that, but thank you for those questions regardless, Jerkwater. Moving on now to Roab Thomas, who asks, in your headcanon, how did Toffee and Dominator meet? It was a one-night stand, and Toffee and Dominator just kind of met. They were DTF, down to fuck, and yeah, that's kind of how it started. Second question. Jasper and Dom meet. How would they react to one another? I think she would think Jasper's a total idiot, but she could manipulate her strength in some ways. Yeah, something like that. Third question. How old do you think Dominator is? I kind of imagine her as like early 20s at best. Like maybe 25 at oldest. Anyway. So thank you for those questions, Roab. Moving on now to One of None, who asks, Dominator meets Sans. Does she have a bad time? Oh, she has a very bad time. From all the puns! The puns would just kill her alone. Sorry, I had to get some water. The puns would destroy her and utterly annihilate her. Alright. Could you see Dominator as a miraculous villain? I kind of imagine her more as a space villain, but maybe. Third question. Dominator versus King Zarkon from Voltron Legendary Defenders. Who wins? I still haven't watched Voltron Legendary Defender, but it's on my list. Don't worry, I'm gonna watch it eventually. Like, soon. Don't worry, like, I have plans to watch it. Don't worry. I finished Stranger Things. I'm working through Penny Dreadful right now. Give me some time, people. Anyway. So, thank you for those questions. One of None. Moving on out to Brian Cam, who asks, Jedi Order versus Dominator and her forces. What happens and who wins? Well, again, Dominator is kind of outnumbered because it's 10,000 Jedi, and I'd imagine her robots do need they need Volcanium X, and Jedi, only need the Force to fight. So, yeah, gotta give it to the Jedi. Alright, second question. What would Dominator think of the following? The Death Star, the Malachor Sith Temple, Galactus, and Unicron the Chaos Bringer. I think she would collectively be like, these things kill billions of people in a minor second. I'm in. Alright. Have you seen the Super Secret Crisis? Sorry, I was thinking of Super Secret Crisis War. Alright, have you seen the Super Secret Origins of Lord Dominator fan comic where Dominator is a nerdy otaku fangirl who turns evil after someone posted a mean comment about her OC being a Lord Hater ripoff? I could actually believe that. Like, that actually sounds like in the Wander Over Yonder universe, I can actually see that happening, honestly. Like, that makes perfect sense. Alright. Thank you for those questions, Brian. Moving on now to Dammy, I hope I'm saying this name right. Dammy Gravity Falls Fan 101, who asks, what if Lord Dominator met either Bill Cipher or Yellow Diamond? I think she would make fun of Bill, and then realize, oh god, he's like a god. I cannot piss this guy off. And Yellow Diamond, she'd be like, what gigantic rock shoved up your ass? Do you ship Dominator with anyone besides Toffee? Lobo from DC Comics, and maybe Blackfire from the Teen Titans animated. I know she's also a DC character, but I'm talking about her animated form, not the Teen Titans Go version, the real animated version. Anyway, so thank you for those questions. Dammy, moving on now to the official Kevin Blanco, who asks, I was saying that name right, by the way, Kevin. First question, if Disney makes a third season of Wander Over Yonder, what role could Dominator have in this season? I kind of imagine Dominator being kind of like she's still angry and alone, but she's trying to be good, like trying to be like an anti-hero in some ways. And Wander is constant. He's watching over her, but from afar. He's like watching her progress from afar. You know, it's kind of funny because I actually had an idea where Dominator wanders the galaxy by herself, and then her that little orb bubble she has, that orbital bubble she has, and the food's gone, and she ends up crashing on Dagobah, and from there she learns how to control her anger from Yoda. Because Yoda's like the ultimate teacher, dude. If he can teach Luke Skywalker, then he can teach anybody, really. Do you think she could seek revenge? Oh wait, sorry, that was your third question. Your second question is, what would be her relationship be with Wander and the others in that season? I would say her relationship with Wander, it would be like, you guys are a bunch of dorks, but I don't want to destroy you as much now. Please send more fruit. Alright, third question. You think she'll seek revenge against Wander for saving her? Not really, but still she'll call him a dork. Alright. Anyway, so moving on now to, thank you for those questions, Kevin. Moving on now to Wolfman the Impaler, who asks, Lord Dominator versus Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo. What kind of damage are we looking at? Total and utter devastation, but I give her this to Ryoko. She's like, nearly like DB, if we're talking about original Ryoko from the OVA series, Ryo-Oki, then that Tenchi Muyo version of Ryoko is like Dragon Ball Z level strong. So, yeah, she wrecked Dominator's shit, unfortunately. Alright, second question. Lord Dominator owes you a favor and offers to kill one person you choose in horrific and agonizing fashion. Out of all the following, who would you choose? Robbie from Gravity Falls, Chloe from Miraculous Ladybug, or Kevin from Steven Universe? That is a tough one. Well, Robbie's kind like I still hate him, but I don't hate him as much now that he's kind of got some character development to him, but that doesn't spare him from my wrath. Kevin is a total dick, and Chloe, but I feel like since we've only had one season of her, I have a feeling that Chloe may become a better person, kind of like how Sissy was in Code Lyoko. So I give her another season. If she's still a raging cunt waffle, then yeah, I'd probably say kill her off. So that just leaves Kevin. Go kill Kevin. Kevin's a dick. There's no hope for Kevin. There's no hope for Kevin. Just kill him. Just kill Kevin. Right there. Right there, Dominator. Just wipe his ascot motherfucker out. Just crush his card, too, while you're at it. Just take that motherfucker out. You don't make Connie cry. Well, she didn't cry, but she made him angry. And you made Steven angry. It's two things you don't like. Fuck you, Kevin. Fuck you. Anyway. Third question. Lord Dominator meets Onion and becomes BFFs with him. I just can't talk tonight. And becomes BFFs with him. How fucked are we? Beyond galactically fucked. Alright, thank you for those questions, Wolfman. Moving on now to Fox Mulder, who asks, Toffee and Lobo get into a fight for Dominator's affection. Who wins? We don't know the extent of Toffee's healing abilities, but I feel like Dominator would just be like, yeah, I'd make them do this every Tuesday. They fight over me all the time. And I think it would end in a three-way, honestly. Somehow it would end like that. Second question. If Dominator had a training montage to help her get stronger, what would she have as training music? You said Too Legit to Quit from MC Hammer. So if she had like a Rocky IV training montage, what would be her training? I'm just kind of imagining her doing the Rocky IV training montage and, I don't know, wanders Ivan Drago or something of that nature. What would be her music? I would say, Bad to the Bone by the Delaware Destroyers. You can't go wrong with that song. Or, I'm Bad by Michael Jackson. I don't know. Alright, third question. If Dominator is in the Marvel Universe, who would she have as her nemesis? I would say she makes a great Guardians of the Galaxy villain. Like, she's a perfect Guardians of the Galaxy villain. Just them. Or the Silver Surfer. Yeah, either one of those two. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Fox. Moving on now to Mr. Emerald123. Haven't heard from this guy in a while. First question is, if Lord Dominator and Invincible met, what would they think of each other? I think she would think Invincible's just a Dudley Do-Right motherfucker who needs to be put down. Second question. Lord Dominator versus the Super Skrull. Who wins? Oh, that's a tough one. Because I think they're both kind of well-matched. I think I might give it to the Super Skrull because he's actually, when he fights, he fucking fights. He goes all out. And plus, he's very intelligent and he's a trained warrior. Whereas Dominator more acts like a bratty teen, so I think I might give it to her. Alright, thank you for those questions, Mr. Emerald. Moving on now to Andre Partridge, who asks, what will happen if Lord Dominator meets up with Tack and Blackfire in a nightclub? I think someone's going to lose some underwear, and I think someone's going to forget, someone's going to have some new images on Instagram. Second question. Any thoughts on how Lord Dominator would react to Bill and Discord? I feel like she would just go insane if those two just hung out at her spaceship for the weekend. That would just not be fun for her. Anyway, who is the most powerful and dangerous evil galactic conqueror in your opinion? Vexus, Tyranny, because Carlotta's gonna go kill me now. Tyranny. Yeah, Tyranny. Or Dominator. Might give it to Dominator because she destroyed the whole galaxy. She pretty much destroyed the whole galaxy. Alright. So, thinking of those questions, Andre Partridge. Moving on now to Shockwave Spider, who asks, could you consider Lord Dominator to be your number one favorite character in Wander Over Yonder, and why? Yeah, because she was one of the reasons why I got into the show, and she's a pretty badass villain. She makes up the unholy trinity of Disney villains for me. The other two being Bill Cipher and Toffee. So, yeah, they make the perfect trinity of evil. Anyway, second question. What would you do a Lord Dominator boss battle in which Wander Over Yonder, a Kingdom Hearts video game, what role would she have? Definitely I think she would make a great boss, but again, Disney didn't really care for Wander Over Yonder, so I doubt this will ever happen. Still be cool though, but I doubt it'll ever happen. Third question. How would it play out if Dominator was your girlfriend? Not good for me. I'd have a crushed pelvis. Maybe some other things crushed, but we'll not talk about that. Thank you for this question, Shockwave Spider. Moving on now to Awesome Rebel 55, who asks, what do you imagine Lord Dominator's family to be like? I don't know. I would imagine, very distant from her. Probably, I don't want to say like they're the generic dick family, but I feel like, maybe she grew up on her own, or maybe her father was out of the picture. I don't know. Second question. Goku, Naruto, Randy Cunningham, Superman, Spider-Man, and The Flash versus Dominator. Yeah, that team, just right there. When you had Goku, Naruto, and Superman on, and everyone, quintessentially, all against Dominator, yeah, Dominator's done. I don't need to know who would win. It's that team. Like, all of those guys, just having Superman and Goku, as well as, Flash, the guy who can outrun death. Just saying. Third question. If Wander Over Yonder had a third season, do you think she would make an appearance and have more character development for Lord Dominator? Yeah, I could see that. I think, that would be a great way to put it. And like I said, I think she would make a great, anti-hero type character, maybe. Anyway. So thank you for those questions. Awesome Rebel. Moving on now to Cinder222, who asks, if Dominator had a twin sister, what would her sister be like, and what would their relationship be like? Well, I kind of imagine that Dominator's the evil twin, and this one's the good twin, and they don't talk to each other. Kind of like a more evil version of Kiki and Jenny from the pizza family from Steven Universe. Second question. Do you think Dominator was more of an outcast of her race, and that's what caused her to go on an annihilation rampage? I kind of imagine her that she was incredibly intelligent, but she was kind of an outcast because of her destructive nature, so now she's kind of like taking her frustration out in the galaxy. Yeah, kind of like that. Third question. What kind of video games do you think she'd play, or anime she'd be she'd watch in her downtime? I kind of imagine her as playing Far Cry. Like, I just kind of imagine her playing Far Cry 3. Her animes would also be, like you said, Black Lagoon. I would also say, like, other animes she would watch is Higurashi, as well as Death Note, Golden Boy, Evangelion, Dragon Ball Z, Overlord, stuff like that. But yeah, Far Cry, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, L.A. Noire, not L.A. Noire, Grand Theft Auto. Well, actually, she seems more like a, what's the other game called? Not Grand Theft Auto, the other one. I can't remember, but whatever. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Cinder. Moving on now to Six Pack Beerus, who asks, if you could write a backstory for Lord Dominator, how would you do it, and would it be sad, funny, or just, I just want to be a supervillain? I think I'd like to have it that she's always been kind of destructive, like she's always been kind of a sociopath, but, all of that, has been kind of bottled down, and she wanted to be better. She wanted to be a good person, but her destructive nature just kept people away, so that's what happened to her. Second question. Lord Dominator gets trained by Beerus. How much stronger do you think she can get, and what damage she could do? If she was trained by Beerus, we'd all be collectively fucked. I think her being trained by Beerus is a pretty dangerous idea. If you guys thought she was powerful now, just imagine, like, she would just blink and blow up planets, like, with no problem. And finally, would you see Dominator as a promiscuous, I can't talk tonight, as a way of getting attention when she gets lonely? Yeah, that's kind of headcanon for me, where she gets kind of, when she gets horny, she'd get a little, hey, how you doing? That's kind of how I wrote in how she met, Toffee in most headcanons. Anyway. So, yeah, I think that's all the questions. Once again, if I did not answer someone's question, that means YouTube either marked it as spam or something, or didn't have it at all on the list, so I do apologize for that. Also, if the mic sounds a little weird, again, the fan was on. But, yeah, I thought this was going to be a pretty short Q&A, but this actually had a really good turnout. So I want to thank you guys so much for that. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed this, and once again, just hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.